So first I want to say thanks for the invitation. And it's a pleasure to be here in Norway. Yeah, that's why we have a long relationship.
Yeah.
I think we met us the first time, I don't know.
2000.
No, it was 99 something.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yes, yeah.
And I mean, this is something what you see is the main important thing with co-productions, or whatever we call it, cooperations, collaborations. To my background, I'm now the district director of the Dschungelwien. It's a theater house, and it's in a way we call it, it's a producing and co-producing theater house for young audience in Vienna. That means it's in the Museums Quarter. That's a huge art center in Vienna. It's one of the biggest art centers, 10 biggest art centers in the world. That means there's also a lot of museums, architecture center, dance house, children museums, and so on. 50 different art institutions. And there we have two venues, two theater venues, a smaller space for something between 80 or 90 to 120 people, and the bigger one for 160 to 200. And the concept is a completely mixed concept of the theater house, what has to do with my experience, because I started 1991 with an international theater festival for young audience called Dschungelwien on the countryside around Vienna, in very small cities. Why? Because I was born there and I wanted to bring back something what I didn't have in my childhood. And then I also was founding a specific dance festival for young audience in Vienna. And I was also, or still be the district director of the Shakespeare Festival in Linz. So that means I made a lot of international festivals, I still do it, and that means I traveled a lot. And I get a lot of impulses from different art visions, different cultures, different structures, different organization and so on. And then I tried to mix this, what I all have seen on the specific situation in Austria, what I thought what we need there. And the concept of the theater house means we have no ensemble. We show every genre, that means theater, dance, performance, music theater, opera, installation, modern medias, puppet theater, and so on, for an age from 2 till 22. And we are producing, that means we produce for ourselves something between 4 till 5, 6 productions in a season, and we co-produce. And that's can be sometimes 4, sometimes 15 productions in a season. And then we also present the premieres from the Independence Company of Vienna. That's also then something like 20 premieres in a year. So we have 35 premieres in the house. And then we have also guest performances from Austria, from abroad. And in one season you can see around 90 productions and 600 performances. And yeah, that's our concept. And we also have a lot of work where we look for new artistic people. That means we work a lot together with academies. I'm also teaching on the university for theater, where I've always in a semester 70 students. Then we have in giving an impulse for writing competitions, where we are looking for new writers together for prosa, for lyrics and dramatic. Then we look always for new young people which try to make the first steps in children's theater and children's dance. And we make it together with some other partners, like the festival Shakespeare, Szene Punta Spleen in Graz. And we give money to young people that they can make the first steps, that they can produce, and we are coaching them and then presenting them in Austria, and so on. So the idea was when I started in October 2004 is a little bit to change the field for children and youth theater and dance in Austria, and in Vienna especially. And in a way it's really worked. That means, for example, a lot of companies which have been 10 years before in Austria are not existing anymore. In a way you can say that's bad, in another way it's good because they didn't go the way what is changing in all these 10, 15 years. That means it was changing on an artistical level, on an aesthetic level, also on a producing level, or also on an opening level on cooperations with abroad. And there are now a lot of young people around something between, let's say, 25 till 35, which established the last years companies, collectives, and they all work together. So in a way we don't have any more typical kind of a company. It's more collectives, completely different collectives. You have always 1, 2 people in the center of it, but they always work together. It's like this modern kind of communication, like fishes. They always are in different swarms and come together. So it's now nearby something like 50 artists which work all the time in the jungle on different companies, different producing level, different cooperations, collaborations, and so on.
How are you funded?
This is a long idea, long story. It was in the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. It was the both developing from the dance house in Vienna and the Chill and Youth Theater House, that the independent scene wanted to have a theater house in Vienna. We have a big theater house for youth in Vienna. It's one of the biggest in the world, but it's you can say it's only in one direction of aesthetic, of the ensemble. It's more for, let's say, education, and all the independent company didn't have enough space to present the productions, so they had to go wherever to rent a theater house, which was sometimes impossible from the money, or to be in commercial spaces where you have only time for 2-3 hours to build up something, and so on. So you could develop your work, you could produce it on a long term, you could develop an audience. For example, 10 years before, we didn't have a theater dance field for youth, for example, only for children, because it was the market, the easiest market. When you make something for 8 years, 10 years, 11, 12 years, 13 years, without schools, it's impossible. But now, for example, in the theater house, we have too much performances for youngsters, for 11, 12. And we have to give now more impulse for the artwork for children, because now there's a theater house, so that's built up. It's in a good location also. We have a lot of medias, we have a good reputation, and a lot of people who now wanted to make work for youngsters, for 11, 12, 13, 14 years. And for this it needs this house, because it's the basic, not only of our productions, it's also the basic of a lot of companies. They produce their 1, 2 performances in a year, in a season, sometimes 3, and they know they have a partnership with us, so we go a long term together, we speak about the ideas, the impulses, the productions, and so on. It's a kind of a coaching, a dialogue, and so on, and they know they can also build up their audience, and this is the main important thing. And also, you know, when you're an independent company, I mean, you have to look for everything, for administration, organization, public relation, and so on, and so on. But when you have a house, a partner, then you can concentrate on your artistic work, because all the other thing your partner, in this way, the house is doing for you. And yeah, and the other thing is that it was always important for me to make international cooperations. When I was the first, I mean, when I started in '91, I didn't want to do children and youth theater. I didn't have any education experience before. It was an idea, it's personal thing. It's taking too long time to explain, but I was going to Netherlands, to Switzerland, and Germany to the first festival, and I was really impressed. Wow, this could be theater dance for young audience, and I never thought that could happen also in Austria. But it was my really idea to bring this to Austria, to build it up, and to give all these impulses to Austria, or to the Austrian scene. And I think when you speak about co-production, and like you said, it's a really, co-production is such a stupid word, because it's like, when I make a little bit an easy vergleich,
explanation. No.
Yeah, then it's a little bit like relationship, like love. Everybody's understanding something different when you say I love you. It's like this co-production. And in a way it is a kind of a relationship. It's really the same. And I think there are always 3 steps if it's in a relationship or a co-production. The first is, one thing is how you find your partner. That means you have to understand what is your market, or what is your position in the market. And then the other thing is, I can explain how to find a partner, but then it's really also, maybe you, for example, like when we have seen us the first time, yeah, it was nice to see NIE on stage. Wow, nice people, sympathetic people, good work, artistic power, and so on. So that's like you fall in love in the first night and during a dance party, yeah. But this is then to say, okay, let's marry, it would be stupid. Huh? That means to say, let's make a co-production would be very stupid, yeah? Because you don't know anything about your partner. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You have only seen it once, yeah. So the main thing is to get closer to your partner, to understand your partner. It means you understand his structure, to understand his organization, to understand his cultural background, to understand his financial possibilities. And now I only speak about management, I don't speak about art. Yeah? But this is a main thing also. Yeah? And the other thing is then really to understand his artistic background, his vision, his way how to work. Yeah? I mean, that doesn't mean when you have the same artistic vision that you can work together, because maybe you have a completely other kind of working. Yeah? So this you have to understand. And then, after all this first step, you have to go in the second step and make an exchange, whatever it means. You can say in a relationship it's the second date. Yeah? I mean, okay, the first date, the first night, whatever, the first week, the first weekend was wow. Yeah? But let's wait 1 month or 1 week, what is the second week? Yeah, the second week and the second date. Then you can prove it, if it's still the same idea. Because I know it in international festivals, when you go, you meet a lot of people. Yeah, and a lot of people come to you, oh, it's so beautiful your work, and oh, can I make a cooperation, let's do something together, and so on, they send you a mail, and blah, 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 blah. Especially with this lot of European project now, where people look, I need partner. Yeah? Because if I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 partners, I have more possibility for the money. Yeah?
It's like some spam.
So you really get, I mean, we get, I don't know, every 3 weeks we get an invitation for a European project. Yeah? Sometimes from companies, people I never know, or wherever I've seen them in the world. Yeah, Stephan, we have met, and we wanted to make a European project like this and this. That's stupid. Yeah, I mean that's like fishing for a partnership in the internet or what else. Yeah, like Parship. So then you have to prove. The second step is you have to make an exchange, and an exchange means really, let's go whatever in a rehearsal space if you want to make an artistic cooperation, because most of the international co-productions at the moment are not artistic co-productions. Yeah, that's only for the market. Yeah, for example, it is coming from the the dance field a little bit, and it's now more and more also in the chill and theater field. There are 4 theater houses. Unlike, for example, we would make I can make an offer together with Yes Stuttgart and with Kopro-Gitterei in Genau or some theater house in Switzerland. Say, we give you money, whatever, let's say 20,000 euro, and we are all co-producers. Yeah? And then we write it, we are co-producers with NIE from Norway, and etc. The only thing is, we trust, we give money, and you have to come then and play whatever a week in Austria. So, that's not an artistic exchange. That's only marketing. It's only producing, yeah? And that helps because you open your market, whatever, in your hometown, in your home city, in your home country, because you can say, I have international co-productions. Wow, that's important, because you have international. You can give an impulse in the international field, because wow, they're working together, they make co-productions, and so on. So, back again to the second step is, you can also be honest and say to your partner, I don't want your artistic vision, I want your money, I want your reputation. That's also fair when you do it, because then you're clear. Yeah? And this is sometimes the problem also, that the people are mixing too much artistic with producing, with marketing, with image, with PR, and so on. Yeah? So the question is, what you really want from your partner. Yeah? And this you can prove in the second step. In the second step you can see whatever you do, for example, let's go together in a rehearsal space of 1 week and work together if you're really interested in artistic work. Work together, and then you see how you work. Then you see how you communicate. Or maybe make an exchange, whatever it means, seminars together, or invite them with the productions and so on, that you get in a second really experience how it feels to work together on different level. And then you can go in the third step, if the second step is working. If you feel in the second step problems, then let it, or make it very clear if you continue or not. Sometimes you have to take time. For example, with a lot of companies, theater houses, we are speaking since 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years, we want to do something together. But it needs sometimes time. And I think a co-production, when you really want to make an artistic co-productions, when you start now to find a partner, under 3 years, it's not good. It's not good, because you need 3 steps, and you can say in a little way, it needs 3 years. Then you're on the level. It's an international focus, prospect. It's different when you have it in a national situation, because then you're closer, you understand more the structures, how subvention are working, how taxes are working, how contracts are working, how management is working, how's the market, and so on. But international, it's a big difference. For example, my first international project, in a way, was '96. We made it together. It was a dance project with Dancestation Malmö from Sweden and Dansus Copenhagen. And we wanted to make a European project. We made an application. We didn't get money, but we do it. And we liked us very much. It was, wow, nice people and so on at the work. And then when we come in the process, it was coming on the point of trusting. Can I trust this person? Can I trust this person? Is he taking, has he wanted to have more power in it? Or is he more money in it? Because to understand the completely different background takes such a long time, or was so difficult to understand how a company is working in Denmark, in Sweden, or in Austria. We didn't understand it sometimes. When it's going on the very practical thing. Why you pay this in your country? We don't pay this, we pay this, more or less, etc. We have this, that. So is it fair now? No. Is it fair? Yes. And we were really coming on the point, I know that we wanted to cancel, and then we meet on a natural ground in London, together, to speak, not anymore in Vienna or Sweden. Because we were really coming on the point, if we are maybe manager only, and everybody's only looking on his forte,
advantage.
Yeah. And in a way, because we didn't make really the second step. We only make the first night, and then let's marry. That was the problem. And so then when you come to the third step, then you have to make it very clear what is really your production together. What is it really? I mean, for example, in the past it was often happened that you invite a director, a choreographer, or wherever in the Europe to work with you. Nobody called it co-production. Now you call it immediately co-production. A lot of companies now, like the Guitar, if Tuvis is going there, it's a co-production. It's only the director who is going there and working with the cast, with the ensemble. So is this now a co-production? Yes and no. The other thing is then how to work with the cast together. I mean, you have often then very practical questions. How can you do it to produce something which you continue to play? When you have artists from there, from there, from there. Often it's not working. Because everybody has his own structure also from touring, from whatever. Then you have, the next thing is now that you more and more have only possibilities to make co-production when you have a good basic, I mean a structure. The Bauer from the independent artist is going in the last 10 years to the producing houses, to the theater houses, to the festivals. They have the power now, not the artist, not the independent artist. That was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but that is gone. You only can produce when you have a clear structure, because then you can look in the long term, like 2-3 years. You have whatever, your stuff, your structure, your house, and so on, and then you can go in a co-production. Otherwise, if you're in a balance company, it's very difficult. Or you make it like you said, you bring your knowledge, your artistic knowledge. Yeah, that's the only possibility what you have when you have no structure, nothing else. When you have no structure, no long-term vision in a financial subvention way, you cannot really make bigger productions. It's the only thing what you can do is you can offer your knowledge, and it's a little bit like whatever you are worth in the artistic world. Yeah, okay, it's something like 20,000 euro. Okay, I'll bring this with. Yeah. But this is the only thing, and then you have other problems how to deal with a production where the artists from there and from there and from there, and when you work together with a theater house like Yes, which have a continually program and have to perform different productions and so on. So often co-productions are, especially in theater, because then you have more and more the things of language, what is a big thing. In dance it's easier in a way, and also in dance the people are more used to travel, they are more used to cooperate in different countries, go from France to Netherlands to Germany to Austria to Sweden, whatever. So they are used more, but in theater where we are so based, and especially in children and youth theater, so based on language, on education, on structures, on school, it's very difficult sometimes to make co-productions. So the easiest way is then always to, let's say, you have the people on stage from one company, and you have the people surrounding, like whatever, music, directing, writing, setup, custom, and so on, from another partner. Yeah, I mean. So now
yeah, you're running out. You're running out of time.
Okay, then maybe 2-3 things more. Yeah. I wanted to speak about some actual. Yeah, the main thing is really when you make a co-production, why? Ask yourself why. That's the first thing. Why? Be really very honest to yourself. Why you want to make a co-production? Why? Is there a sense? Why you need an international partner? Is there a sense? Maybe you have, it's better you take a national partner. Yeah? Sometimes it's helped you more than you think. Yeah? And the other thing is then when you know it why, make it very clear who is your partner. Yeah? I mean the first step to find partners is clear, is festivals, international festivals. Yeah? Because there you can find a lot of, you can see artwork on stage, you can meet directors, choreographers, writers, other festival directors and so on, and you can come in and exchange. So the main thing is whenever you want to make a co-production international, go to festivals, and then go to good festivals. Festivals which have an artistic value, have a good reputation, and are hot spots. That means big date hotspots where people are coming there. And the other thing what is now, for example, also coming more and more is not only festivals, it's showcases. That means, for example, festivals, especially the festival which has an artistic level, have an artistic director with one vision. So that means sometimes that there's only one direction of art, or one vision. And for example, in the last 2 years, especially this year, a lot of countries made showcases. Yeah, I was now in Netherlands. There is a good festival, Tweedacht, for example, but all the field of the theater and dance companies don't feel represented in the festival. So they made a showcase for 2 days, 25 companies, show their productions, 10-15 minutes, invited presenters from abroad. It's now happening in Stockholm, it's happening in Belgium, it's happening in Germany, it's happening in where else? That means make for example showcases where you invite people from abroad to see you, that they invite you. What else? Yeah, I wanted to say something about one of the typical project international cooperation. That's something. We have now running 2 big projects. One is Fresh Tracks Europe, It's a dance project for 2 years with money from the European Union, where we are the main partner with Gruppe in Ghent, the dancers NRW in Düsseldorf, and I had Lab in Utrecht, and there are also some other smaller partners in Denmark, Sweden, Estonia, and then Scotland. And the encounters, the idea was not to produce immediately. That's also something very stupid. Always producing. Yeah. And there was the idea to make a 2 years project first to meet, to bring choreographers together. Yeah. To give space for 10 days where 15 choreographers from this country are working together for one topic. And so we had 4 encounters, and at the end always a presentation and a symposium, and the last will be in February in Vienna, and that will be also the last symposium from all the projects. So who is interested in dance, for example, it would be a good moment to meet a lot of people in Europe which working in dance for young audience. It's from the 21st of February till the 24th. There's the ending of the Fresh Lecture, the presentation of the atelier, symposium, and the beginning of the Szene Bunderwene Dance Festival. That's one thing. The other thing is we made a project called Patchwork Family. This is a typical co-productions, cooperation project like it is in the moment. There are festivals in Asia, like in Okinawa, you know it, Mr. Shimoyama, and in Korea and Taiwan and Hong Kong. And this festival's together with a festival in Russia, in Samara, and the theater house in Croatia, Mala Scena, and our theater house. And at the beginning it was also a free company, independent company festival in Italy. Was the idea to make a production together with artists from every country. Yeah, so there was 8 artists on stage, and a director from Croatia and an author from Russia. And it was the premiere in Okinawa, and then it was going to Korea and all these countries. Yeah? I mean, for opening a market, it was a very good project. For let's learn how it works in Asia. It's such a different. Yeah? It was a very important and good experience. I mean, I know, for example, these people very long, also since I don't know 7, 8 years. But to produce something together. It's such a difference, and for this it was very important, very good. Also for all the artists which was working in the production or in the project, they had a big experience, yeah. But from an artistic vision, it was nothing. It was really nothing.
Sorry.
So it was nothing. Yeah. And what? Why? What was happened? Oh.
No, I'm not going to comment it.
No, I mean, it was this typical thing. It was only because there was 8 partners, 5, 6 partners wanted to make a market production.
They wanted to make whatever. So they
whatever. And the other thing is the artistic visions were so different. For example, the productions, I mean, I for myself, I hate it. Yeah? And I was so ashamed that I'm one of the partners in it. But I was fighting with other people 6 hours, they find it good from the partners. And 2 of them, they wanted to continue with it, and I wanted to stop it, for example. But it's too long to explain it.
Stephan, you're
okay,
running out.
So then,
sorry.
Okay, the only thing what I wanted to say is that, especially when we're in Europe, I mean, I think we have only 2 possibilities. One is we have to cooperate more on a European level. That's the only possibility what we have. I mean, it's all the negative experience what you can have, it's all the problems what you can have, and so on. But there is no other choice. We have to do it in Europe. That's the future. The next 10, 15 years. And the other thing is you only can do it when your basic in your country, in your city is established. It is really strong. Also, I have this in a relationship. I always say, when you're a person which has only as a symbol I'm staying on 1 feet, and I look for a woman who should only stay on 1 feet, because then I look down. I'm staying on 2 feet. you can forget the relationship. Yeah? That means also when you're not established enough and you have not enough basic in your country, in your city, structure, financial thing, subvention, partners, and so on, you cannot do bigger long-term cooperations in Europe or international. It's impossible. Otherwise you lose your energy, you lose your time, you lose your vision, you lose your money, everything. You can do it for 2-3 years, but then you're finished. Yeah? So there's two different things. In a way you have to be more open European and also international, but in the other thing you have to be more concentrated in your city and to find there the right partners also. Yeah? I have to take one example because it was in the Netherlands now, what was happening in the Netherlands. Yeah. The last 5-6 years they cut the culture budget on 9%. Yeah? That means, for example, only in the children and youth theater field they had 25 companies which have structure subvention for 4 years on a high level. Yeah? They cut it 5 years ago and now again. And now a lot of really famous companies in the children youth theater field, like Wederside, Stella Den Haag, who is on the Amstel, are not existing anymore. At the Bond, which was one of the most produced writer in Europe. And they now have to go together. First, in the first step 4 years ago, that was a lot of 2 companies but going together to one company in a theater house. Now 3-4 go together, because it's the only possibility. And it's not easy for them, because in a way it's, they were used 10 years, 15 years, the art way, their vision, or 20, 25 years. Yeah? In another way, it's also good. Not from the, don't misunderstand me, from the cutting, because that's horrible, yeah? And that's another topic. But they have to open now more, for example, to work together, dance companies with music theater companies, with theater companies, work also on different levels, like more also the adult, and the children, and the youth. And this is changing. All the structures are completely changing. Yeah? And you have only a possibility when you're strong enough in your own country and in your own basic. Okay, sorry.
That's great. Thank you very much, Stephan.